Okay. Let me do it again. Okay. So let's review about this program. This program ran well with one customer, right? It ran very well with one customer here. It ran very well with one customer here. But what happened if I have the more than one customer? I think about I am the telecommunication company. I have the 100 or 1,000 or more than 1,000 customer here. So what I want to do with the first customer, with the second one, with the third one here? Yes, of course, I can modify my program, right? I can modify my program here. Just everything here is for one customer. I can copy and paste it here for the second customer here, and I copy and paste here for the third customer, and I can copy and paste here for the fourth customer. And I can do it again and again and again for multiple customers here. But you see, my program here is very, very cumbersome, right? And the thing is that all of the coding here is the same. Why I have to do it again and again is the same coding here. It really wasting my time. It really makes my program very cumbersome here, right? So I can do the same process, right? I can do the same process when I work with the Python here. I copy this one, right? That is for the one customer. I can copy this one for the second customer here. I can copy this one for the third customer here, and so on. And again, you see the process here. I do it again and again. All of the coding here is the same, right? All the coding is the same, but you make my program very, very cumbersome here. So when I run it here, I run it, of course, it runs it well, very well here, right? I have A here, I have the 500 core, 2,000 minutes here. Now he got the agreement rate, right? I run the second customer here. I have the 50 core, I have the 500 mass duration, it has normal rate. I have the C here, right? Customer C here. We have it. Okay, so for this one, for this program, right? I can copy it and paste it here for multiple customers. So for this program, it works well with the 3 customers here. But what happens if I have 10 customers or 100 customers or 1,000 customers? I have to copy it for 1,000 times. I see what is a huge my program here, right? So in that case, you see the key process here is that the process here, it happens the same with every customer. I see. You see in the coding here, right? You see in the coding here. The same customer here, right? The second customer here and the third customer here, they are the same. So in that case, you think about the process of repetition. That means the loop. That means the loop here, right? So that's what you learn for today. That's what we learn for today. Okay, so what is loop? Loop is a such process that make computer program more efficient and worthwhile here, right? So you write one of the set of instructions to operate on multiple and separate set of data. Think about this one. Think about this program I write here, right? Think about program I write here. I think about the program I write here. It works very well in the case I have one customer here, right? It works very well in the case I have one customer here. Now, think about the second one, the process the same, right? I have to ask what is his name and how many calls he made and how many duration he do. The third one is the fourth one and the fifth one the same. The process is the same. That is the kind of the repetition, right? So in that case, instead of doing it again, copy it and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste here again and again, I think about using the loop. Using the loop because the process is the same, right? The process is the same. So when you work the loop here, you just need to write one set of the instruction to operate on multiple separate set of data, right? So what is the advantage? You less time required for designing and coding. You just write the code one time only, but you can use it for multiple times, right? Fewer error because you don't have to you save a lot of time and you don't have to work a lot of the time. So we can save we can have the fewer error here and shorter compile time here. Right, shorter combine time here. So what is a loop? Loop is structure that repeat action while some condition continue. Right. So remember the loop here. You just doing it. Right. You just keep doing the same action here. Structure that repeats action while some condition continue. That's why for the loop again you need have the condition here. And I mentioned that in the loop you have the condition here to check, and if the condition true, you just go to the body of loop and do it again and again and again here. Okay. Okay, so that is a case of the loop structure here, right? Of the loop structure here. So basically, for the loop structure here, you see, you have the condition here to check. You know that the condition. What is the type of the condition? You learned about that already, right? You can have the logical condition, right? Logical condition here. You have greater than, you have less than, you have equal or not equal or not, greater than or equal, or less than or equal, right? That's the first thing. Or the second thing that you can combine them together. You learn about the compound logic. Right? So what you learn is the program here about the AND logic, about the OR logic, and NOT logic, and so on here. So basically, for the loop structure here, you have the condition here to check. Right? You have condition here to check, and if yes, remember, if yes, you go to the body of the loop. Right? So when you execute everything about the body of the loop here, remember, it only come back to the check the condition again. That's the loop here, right? That come back and come back and come back. And if the condition true, is that come to the body of loop and do it again and again and again and again until the condition is null. Okay? So that is a process you learn about the process of mainline logic here, right? The housekeeping here, that is a process you initialize for the control variable here. You go to check the condition of the control variable, and if the condition is true, you go to the detail of the loop. Right? And remember that in the detail loop, you have action to change the value of the variable that controls the loop here. Okay. So using the loop control variable here, as long as the condition remains true, the statement in the while loop body execute. So if true, you go to the body of the loop to execute it, right? And in order to control the number of repetition here, right? In order to control the number of repetition here, you need to have a loop control variable. That's for sure, because you have a condition here to check, right? You need a loop control variable initialize before the entry the loop here, right? And for each iteration, the loop control variable is stated, right? And the body of the loop must enter here value of the loop control variable. That's why I mentioned about the loop, right? You have to initialize the control variable before you go to the loop. You have to test the condition. If true, you go to the body of the loop. And inside the body of the loop here, you must change the value of the variable that controls the loop here, right? So basically here, the two concepts here, the repetition, it can control by the counter or it can control by the sentinel value. So what is a counter? Counter, that means you to create a definite counter control loop here. Think about in my program here, in my program, I know that I have the 10 customer. Right? I have the 10 customer for sure. So I run it for 10 times. I know for 10 times. Right? The second one is the sentinel value here. It's used to create the indefinite loop here. What is it? That means it keep doing it until the user is the one who determines if you want to exit the loop or not. I think about if keep enters a name, right? Keep enters a name, and if you enter the name is act here, the loop exit. So remember the definition about the counter and the sentinel value here. Counter for sure, you know how many times you want to run it at the beginning and how many times the program execute. And the sentinel, that is the one who end user that control how to exit the loop here. Okay. Now, in the case of definite loop, right? Remember, in the case of definite loop, I mentioned that you work with the counter. You work the counter here. You execute the predetermined number of times. You know for sure, right? You know that you have to execute for how many number of times, and you use the counter control here, right? You use the counter control to loop or the counter loop here, right? And the program count loop repetition at how many times here, right? So basically for this one, you have the counter control and the loop control variable. They are answered by increasing or decreasing here. And what is the counter? Counter is any numeric number that counts the number of times, and uneven that occur. Usually it starts with the number 0. But not always the number 0. Think about if I want to count down. I starting from 100, right? And after that 99, 98, and so on until we go to 0. But remember, whenever you work with the predetermined number of times here, you need to have the counter control here. The counter control here, right? Okay. So think about this program here, right? So think about this. If you look on this program here, right? I want to print it out hello. I want to print it out hello for how many times? 4 times. Right? I want to print it out hello here for 4 times. So what is it? That is a variable that controls the loop here. Counter control, right? So again, I have to initialize before the loop here, right? So at the beginning, I initialize, right? Loop control variable, you have to initialize before enter the loop. So I initialize to number 0 here. Now I check the condition, right? I go to the loop here, I check condition here. I keep doing it until the count less than 4. Right? So if the count go to the number 4, I exit the loop, right? So see what happened here. Right? The first time I have the count number 0 here, I check 0 less than 4, correct? Right? I print it out hello for 1 time. Now, so see in the body of the loop here, you need to change the value of the control variable here. And this one, every time you increase by 1, right? So I have number 1 here. I come back to check it, right? I come back to check here. 1 less than 4, correct? I print it out hello for second time. That one I have hello for first time here, right? When I have 0, I go to 0 here. I change it to number 1. Now number 1 again, less than 4. I print it out hello again for second time. And now check again. Right? I have number 1 here, less than 4, correct? Right? So I print it out hello, and I increase it by number 2 here, and again I print it out hello, and so on. So keep doing it until my count here reaching to number 4. So when reaching number 4, I print it out, I put the goodbye. Okay, so if you look on this one here, if you look at this one here in the pseudocode here, right? So see that process here. I initialize variable before I enter the loop, right? I check the condition here. Why the count less than number 4, right? That is each iteration loop I have to retest here, right? So if the count less than 4, I just print it out here, and that is the third step. Make sure that in the body of the loop, you must change the value of the variable that controls the loop here, right? Otherwise, stay the same and never ever change and never ever exit the loop here. Okay, so for this program, it's very very simple program, right? So you can write into the Python here. So basically in the Python, in the case you work with a definite loop counter here. Normally you work the for loop, not the while loop. But anyway, this one you can work with the while loop also, right? So I can show you how to work with the count here in the Python, right? So for this one here, you see, it works exactly the same with the program you write in the pseudocode here. Right? It works exactly the same with the program you write in the code. You have the 3 steps. You have 3 steps. That's the first one. You initialize variable here. Initialize. Control variable. You set it 0 here. The second one here. For each iteration, you only have to check the condition. And that is the second one here, right? Check the condition here. And you see the third one here. You only have to action to change value of the variable inside the body of the loop. Right? So see for this program here, when you execute it, and when you execute it here. Right? So when you execute this program, you can click it here, and you can see what happened with my program here. Right? So now that's the beginning, right? I don't know why it not work well with my break here. So I suppose that you have to break it down. I think something wrong with this Visual Studio Code. Okay. So you can see what happened with this. Okay. So that is the case you work with the Python here, right? So see, it works exactly the same. Yeah, this one. Let me suppose that it works very well. Yeah, so see. Yeah, that's the case here, right? So see what happened here. I have the count number 0 here, right? So now I check here, 0 at the beginning, 0 less than 4, correct, right? So now what happened here? I print it out hello for one time. And after that, you see, the count now increased by 1. That's why count now is number 1, right? So now I check it again for the second time, right? The second time, you see, I do it hello again. Now count number 3 and number 2, right? Number 2 less than 4, correct? Again, I go to the body of the loop. I print it down for the third time here. I print it out for the third time now. And now the count increased by 1, the count number 3. Again, 3 less than 4, correct, right? That's why I do it again here, right? I do it again for one time, and now count number 4. Count number 4, right? Count number 4 here. Again, number 4 less than number 4 is not correct. That's why I exit the loop, right? But basically, when you work with the Python, this one, when you work the Python here, normally for the loop with the predetermined number of loop of iteration, you use a for loop, not the while loop. Right? So what is the for loop here? So basically in the for loop here, you know we work with the for loop here, right? So I show this one with the for loop. How we work this one with the for loop. Yes, that's when you work with a number of iteration. So normally in the Python, when you know for sure how many times you want to run, you can use the range function here. You can use the range function here, right? So what is the range function? Let me explain in the Python here. What's the range function? What is the range function here? So basically for the range function, you have the start, you have the stop, and you have stack here. You have start and stop and stack here, right? So basically that's the range function. You have start, you have stop, and have stack here. But somehow, if you cannot have the start here and you cannot have stack here, so we understand that you have start here is number 0, and you have stop here number 4, and stack here number 1. Right? That is the case of the range function. I believe that I have the slide here, so I can explain it more in the case of the range function. Let me go to the Python at the beginning, at the end of the program. Okay, this one. Okay. So basically, for the range function in the Python here, right? So the syntax of the range function here, you have start, you have stop, and you have stack here, right? You have start. Remember, start is optional. You can have it or you don't have it. It's up to you, right? It's optional here. Stop required. Whatever you always have required in the range function. Right? And the stack here, it is optional. You can have it or not. It doesn't matter. So in the case start here, optional, the integer number specified at which position start. So the default number 0. That means if you do not have start, it understands that you're starting from number 0. Right? And stop, it's required. It only required here in the range function. And stack here, again, it's optional. It's integer number specified the increment here, right? And by default, it's number 0. Sorry, by default, it's number 1. Right? So that means if I put it here, range, right? Yeah, I put the range here, right? And I put it number 1, I put number 20, and I put number 2 here. What do we mean? What do we mean here? If I print this one here, what do we mean? How many times I do it? If I use the range function, I have the start of number 1, I have stop of number 20, and the stack here number 2. What are they? Right? We have number 1, right? Step number 2 here, right? We have 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, right? 13, right? 13, 15, 17, and 19. Right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So that is the case of the range function here. Let's remember that the start here is optional, stop here is required, and step here is optional. It's up to you. You can put it here. And of course, remember that step here, you can increase or decrease. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter here. Okay. Now think about this one here. I run my program, right? I run my program here. So you can see I run it in the case of the range function here. I work with the Python here. I think about 4 eyes in range, right? I have start here, number 1. I have stop here, number 20. And I have step here, number 2. Right? So I just print it here, print that. Okay. So see, that is the way it printed here, right? Number 1, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 7, number 9, and so on. You can open the Python. You can work with the range function. Right? You work with the range function. That's correct. Now, what happens if I put it here? Number 20 and number 0, and I put it here. -2. So what do you think? What should be the output of this program? What do you think? If I put the I here in the range from 20 and go to the number 0 and step number -2 here, what do you think? What are the number I print that?
So goes down 10, so it starts from 20.
Yeah, 20 go down all. Right? Go down over here. I see. Let me run my program. You see what happened. Now, remember one thing. You have stop here, but it never ever execute the stop. Right? So see, the 0 here, it not execute. It's not printed out in the function here. Right? So remember in the range function here, you're starting from start. You go all over to the stop, but never ever reach into stop. Right? You exclude from stop here. And remember step here. Step here, it can be number 1, number 2, number 3, or negative here. It doesn't matter. Right? Think about if you want to print it out for countdown time here, right? So what happened here? For the countdown time here, I want to print it out everything from 100 here. Right? 100 here. If I want to include the number 0 here, make sure I have to put -1 here. Right? So I have to put the -1. And the step here, it is the -1. So you see, that is the countdown time here from 100 here, and it comes all over to 0 here, right? That's the program. So remember, in the Python, if you know for sure how many times you execute, that means predetermined number of times you use the for loop instead of the while loop. The while loop also works, but the for loop is way better here, right? And it's a combination of the for loop and the range function. And I mentioned the range function here, right? So remember that anytime if you want to run it for the 4 times, you just put it range number 4 here. And if you want to run it for 10 times, you just put it range number 10 here. That's okay. Is that? Okay, that's the way you work with the Python in the for loop here. Okay, so basically, yes, let me come back with my slide here, right? So basically, the two program here is they execute the same time, same output. Execute, you print it out hello for 4 times. But the first one, you work with the while loop here, right? You initialize, you check the condition, and you change the value. But the second one, I work with the range, I work with the for loop here, right? That's the way you work with the Python. But actually, the way you execute the same. Okay. So just remember in the case of the definite counter here, right? The definite counter here, you have to maintain about the variable. That is the counter here, right? The counter here. Now that's the first one. The second one here, you can use the you can use an indefinite loop with the sentinel value. As that's the case, user keep asking user enter the number, or do you want to continue or not, and so on. And the user is the one who determines if he wants to exit the loop or not the program. You see in the program here, for sure, it runs for 4 times. Whatever it is, it only runs for 4 times, right? But for this one here, I am the one who execute program, and I am the one who determines if I want to execute or not. Okay, that's the difference here. So in the case of indefinite loop here, in the case of indefinite loop, right, you perform the different number of times each time the program executes. It's not always the same. Right? So sometimes I can run it for 3 times, and the other time I can run it for 10 times. Okay, now that's the first one. And the user is the one who decides how many times the loop executes here. Right? Okay. So again, the process is the same, right? You have to initialize the loop control variable here. For each iteration here, you have to test the condition, and inside the body of the loop here, you must change the value of the loop control variable. Right? So for this program here, right? So now you see, you just keep doing it if you want to do it or not, right? So here. You keep it here, put yes or no here, and you put it in the variable here. Should continue or not, right? So now you go to the loop here. If should continue is yes, right? It should continue yes. You go to the body of loop. You print it out hello here, right? And again, you see, you need to change the action here, right? You need the action to change the variable here. Otherwise, it stays the same, right? That's the one. You are the one who determine how you exit the loop here. How you exit the loop here, right? So let me execute my program here. Right, so see, when I execute my program here, right, I get it from the user. I have to initialize before the loop. Right? Again, 3 steps. Just remember about 3 steps here. Initialize before, right? You check the condition here. And if the condition true, you go to the body of the loop. And again, in the body of the loop here, you need to action to get the new value in order to exit the loop or in order to move on to the next iteration here. Okay, so now for this program here, so think about this one here. When I run my program, right? When I run my program here, right? When I run my program, right? If I put yes here, then we see what happened here, right? You see this one yes, right? You check the condition here, correct, right? This one correct here. That's why I go with the hello here. And now again inside the body here, I need to action here. If I want to continue or not, if I put it here, again it go with on, right? Go, I put it here, it go on, right? So for this time, I am the one who determines if I want to exit or not. Right? I am the one who determines it. The user is the one who determines if he wants to exit it or not. Right? Okay. Sorry, this one. I'm sorry. So if I put no here, right? I put no here. Now program exiting. Right? Program exiting. So see, program exiting. Okay. So basically that I hope you look in the syntax in the Python here, right? So whenever you want to the while loop, you have the keyword while here, and after that, remember you have to use the colon here, right? And remember here, if you want to do the comparison, you have to use the double equal sign, not the single, right? Single that means assignment. Double equal sign that means comparison, right? And again, if you want to compare to the string format, make sure that everything about string format here you have to put it inside the code mark. That is string format, right? And if you do not put it inside the code mark, you put y here, you have syntax error because you understand why it is a variable here, but you don't have any variable y here. Make sense? Okay. So basically, that's the loop work very well in the case you work with the mainline logic. Right? Work very well in the case you work the mainline logic here. Right? That I mentioned it again. For 3 steps, you occur in every properly functioning loop here. Right? You have to provide starting value for the variable that control the loop. You have to test the condition of the loop control variable here, and also in the body of the loop, you have action to change the loop control variable. Okay? Otherwise, it will be an indefinite loop here. Yeah, that's the case here. Think about this program, right? I want to get the name. I keep doing it. I keep doing it until I enter I here. Right? I keep doing it until I can enter I here. So for each of them, I find out what is the gross here. Right? And I find out what is the deduct here, and from that one, I find out what's the net income. So I do it for multiple. I do it for multiple one here. Right? I do it for multiple one. Now come back to the program. Come back to the program here. Think about this one, right? I raised the question here. This one worked very well with one customer. Now, what happened here for this one? If I want to do it for 10 customers, how can I modify my program? How can I modify it? This one worked with one customer here, right? And now, if I want to change it, the program here, I want to do it for 10 customers. How can I modify it?
Put it in a loop.
Yeah, you net it in the loop here, right? So basically for this one here, right? So in here, you can work with the loop here. You can work the loop, right? So think about, in order to loop, remember that for the 10 customer here, right? I have the cow here, number 0, right? And the cow here is the one who controls the loop. Remember that the cow here is the one who controls the loop, right? The cow here is the one who controls the loop. So what I put it here, what is it? If I work the while loop here, what do you think? What I put here? I want to do it 10 times.
So while count is less than 10.
Yeah, right. The while count here less than 10. There. That's all. I've seen what happened with this one here. I said remember that you have to do with the indentation here, right? Here, indentation here. It should be better if one more level of indentation. So very easy for you to follow with the structure here. And what else? What else I have to do? What do you think? What else I have to do with my program?
If that count equals count plus 1.
Yes. Every time you have to change it here, right? This one you have increased by 1 here, right? Very good logic here. Right? So we have count here equal to count plus 1. That's all. That's the program here. So see, and of course in the C code you have to put N1. Okay, that's the program. I do it for 10 customer. I do it for 10 customer here, right? Okay, or in the case you work the for loop also, in the for loop here, so you can put it here, right? You work with this one, right? In the C code here, you can use a for loop also, for right? For count 0, right? And you go to the number 10 and you have step number 1. That's okay. This one you put N4. That's okay for the C code, right? So this one work well. Sorry, not now. How, right? So the process is the process with the for loop is quite the same. Actually, you have the process to initialize 0 here, right? And you check the condition with the stop number 10 here. And step here number 1, that means every time you don't have to use it anymore, right? You don't have to use it anymore with the for loop. And every time, for every iteration, you just increase it by step of 1. Okay, makes sense. So you can do this one. You can do this one with your with this program also, right? So it's what happened here. You just put everything here inside the loop. You put everything here inside the loop here. I think about I remove this one. I remove this one here. Sorry, I remove this one. Yeah, right. So I can group them together. Not this one. Group them together. I just remove a little bit. After that, so now I work with the loop here, right? I work the loop here. So this one, of course, I have to initialize the cow here number 0, right? I have number here, cow here number 0. I have to initialize it, right? You know that process. I have to initialize it, right? And now I check the condition here. If cow less than number 10, right? Cow less than number 10. So I just keep doing it here, right? And now I can put everything here. That's one. With to this side. Yes. Okay. Actually, stop it not here, right? You have to modify this one also. So you can. So You have yes here, right? And of course, you have no here. You have no for this one. And no, of course, you stop here, right? No, you stop. So now I modify this one with the loop here, right? I initialize it here, 0 here. I check if it count as 0 or not. If yes, I go to the get customer and make decision here if he got the premium rate or not. What I have to put it here. I need to increase the cap here, right? Okay. So make sure that I need one more step here, right? I need one more step here. I have to increase here, right? Count here. Count. That one. That's all. That's when you modify this program and work the loop here for 10 times. Right? That is a kind of predetermined number of iteration. Right? So I go back to your program. You build it with the Python here, right? You build it with the Python here. So again, this program again, if I want to modify this one with the loop here, right? Again, I just put everything here inside the body of the loop. Right? I put everything here inside the body of the loop here. So I can work with a while loop first. I use the while loop first as I have count here. Number 0 here, right? And I check the condition here. While count less than number 10. I do everything here. But remember, everything inside the body loop, you have to indent to one level here, indent one level here, one level here, one level here, one level here. Right. Oh, sorry, this one already. That's all. So that's a program, right? That's my program here. Now, anything else? Anything else with my program? Yeah, count again, right? Make sure that you have count here, the calculate one. That's all. You see, I just do it for one time only, right? I just code it for one time only, and I put it inside the loop, so I can do it for 10 times, right? So I run my program here, right? I run my program here. Right? So I think it should be better. I change it to number 3 only. Otherwise, I don't want to run it again. Right? So now I run it for 3 times, right? I here, customer A, right? 200 here, 2000 here. He got premium rate. B here, 19 here, 500 here. He got a normal rate, and the C here, he got a 500 here, and 200 here, 2000 here. He got premium rate, and program stop. Right? It worked well. It worked well with the while loop here. I work 0 here. I check the condition. Okay. That is everything. I write with my program at the beginning. Huh? I write my everything here in my program at the beginning. Huh? So I just put it inside the loop. I do it for 10 times, for 3 times. That's why I mentioned that for every program, actually it's a combination of 3 steps here. Right? You have the sequence, you have the selection, and the loop, and you can stack them together or you can net them to each other here. Right? This one it works well in the case of the for loop here. Right? Sorry, of the while loop here, or in the Python here, I can use the while loop here, right? So I can change everything. I have 4 eyes in range. Number 3, right? So I just do it for 3 times. That's all. I don't have to use the count here anymore, right? So basically, in the Python, remember in the Python, it's really helpful if you know that for specified number of iterations, you use the for loop here. You don't have to use the while loop, right? It's very helpful, right? So think about this one here. I run it again. I run it for 3 times with the while loop. Sorry, with the for loop here. Right? And PT, right? I got it normal rate. I have the B here, 400, right? It's 2000 here. I got the premium rate. C here, I got it. It's 100. I got no one. Make sense? So basically, that is the case. Predetermined number of iteration. Predetermined number of iteration here. You use a counter. So basically, the for and so that is a counter. I here is a counter. I starting from 0 and go all over to number 3. And every time I step by 1, you know that the range here actually, if you see in the This one, right? Actually, the range here, actually, if you see in the concept of the pseudocode, actually you have the for I equals 0 here, number 3 here, and step number 1. That's the concept. You initialize 0. You keep doing it if it's less than 3, and every time you step by 1. Right? But in the Python, you can set user range function. Make sense? Okay. Now, come back to my program again. Come back to my program, right? So I can modify my program here. Modify my program here, right? So now this time I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how many customer here, right? I'm not really sure how many customer I can get it here, right? So back then I know for sure I have the 10 customer. So I do it for 10 times, right? But now I'm not really sure how many customer here. So in that case, I use Sentinel control value. Sentinel control value, that means do you want to continue or not, right? Or you keep doing it until the name is active, right? So now, if I modify my program with a Sentinel here, now what is your suggestion? How can I modify it? How can I modify it? Think about, I keep doing it until the customer, the end user enter customer name with active here. So how I do it? How I do it with my program? Now do it, you guys, do it here.
So while customer name is not XXX.
Okay. Now I put it here, right? Why customer name? Not actually not customer name, right? Why name here? Because the name here is a variable, right? Okay. If not, remember that if you want to compare to the string format, you have to put it inside the first one here, right? Okay. That's one. Now, if you look at it, actually we have N1 here, right? Anything wrong with this program? Now tell me, guys. Tell me, anything wrong with this program? Anything wrong with this program?
You would want the customer name input to be
Any wrong with this program?
It needs to be outside.
Sorry?
Input for the name needs to be outside of the loop.
Yes, right? You see, the Y name is not active, but you have not defined the name yet, right? You have a syntax error for this one, right? So basically, yes. Now, you have to move it outside the loop here, right? You have to move it outside. You have to put it here, right? You have to put it here. That's good. That's good observation. Anything else?
then you need one at the end of the loop.
You need to get a new name, right? You get a new name because you need to move on to the next iteration or you exit here, right? Otherwise, it stays the same and you will be that infinite loop here, right? So yes, of course, at the end of the loop here, right? At the end of the loop here, I need to put it here. I need to get it new name here, right? So this book exactly the same with the mainline logic here. I can see I got it here. I see mainline logic here. Right? I initialize. That's the first step. The name is the one who controls the loop, right? I initialize before the loop. I test the condition here, right? So if it's not act here, I do everything with the body of the loop, everything with the body of the loop, everything with the body of the loop. Now at the end, right? You see at the end here. Sorry. At the end here. Right? At the end here, you need to get the new name here. Right? The 3 steps in the mainline logic. The 3 steps in the mainline logic. Just remember, you have the 3 steps in the mainline logic here. Right? Initialize before the loop. You test the condition. And inside the body of loop, you need the action to get the new name. To change the value variable. Right? So I keep doing it until the user enter name. I for this one. And I'm the one who determine if I want to exit my program or not. Okay? So you guys take a short break for 5 minutes and come back. Okay, so we go on. So with this program, right? So if you want to modify into in this one here, right? You know that for this one, I don't use a cow here anymore, right? I don't use a cow here anymore, but this one is that I use a sentinel control value here, right? So this actually is a name, right? And to remove this one outside, I have to initialize before the loop here. Right? So I think drag and drop everything here a little bit. And now I paste it here. Right? I need to do it. I need to do this one here, right? And that's up. It's the body of the loop here, right? Okay, and it's the body of the loop at the beginning. I don't need this one anymore, right? I don't need this one. I don't have to need to count here. I don't need to count here. But again, I need to get the new name here, right? That's all. That's the way I work with the flowchart for this one, right? So we see process here. You see process, right? I get the name, right? I get the name of a customer here. So I get the name here, right? I enter the name, and I do exit. Okay, the same. I put it here, and the customer name, and the okay. So for this program, remember, user is the one who determines if you want to exit it or not, right? User is the one, and that's why the code it is a sentinel control value here. And again, sorry for this one, not count here, right? Name is not equal to act, right? Yes, if name is not equal, you go to the body loop and keep doing it here. Okay. Now, for this program, I can modify this program in the Python also, right? So you know that I have to initialize the name before that, right? Now I go to the body of the loop. I go y name here not equal to act, right? Okay, this one. And now at the end of the body of the loop here, in the body of the loop, at the end, I need to action to get the name. That's all, right? So see, when I run it again with this program, right? I can run it again with this program in the Python. Okay. When I run this program in the Python here, so see, I here, right? 200 here, 5,000 here. Now I do the B, right? 200 here, 300 here, and so on. And I'm the one who determines if I want to exit the loop or not. And if I want to exit the loop, I just put act here. And now the program terminated. Make sense? Okay. So basically for the loop, you have the two types of loop. Let's remember that you have the two types of loop here. Right? The first one, you have the definite loop. That means you execute it for predetermined number of time, right? That's very work well with the you work the for loop in the Python here. The second one here, you work with indefinite loop and perform different number of times each time the program execute here, and the user is the one who decides how many times the loop execute. Now, sometimes, right? Sometimes you also need to do with the netted loop here, right? Now, give me some example if you want to do with netted loop in the daily life, right? Give me. You know what happened if you want to work with netted loop. You have many. You have multiple employees here, right? Think about it in the program. You need to find out the what is it you have to find out the gross income of every employee, right? So think about this one here. In order to find out the gross income of every employee, right? That you have out the loop here. You have out the loop employee, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. You have multiple employees, and for each employee, right? You have to sum it up, right? What is the gross income for January and February and so on. Right, so basically that is a netted loop, right? You have the outer loop, it's a multiple employee, and for each employee, you have to sum it up from the January page to the February and so on and so on, from 1 to number 12, right? That's a kind of netted loop here. So in the case of netted loop, you put a loop within a loop. You put a loop into the another loop here, right? And the outer loop is a loop that contains the other loop, and the inner loop that the loop is that is contained here, right? So you need it when the value of two or more variable repeat to produce the same. Sorry, to produce every combination of the value here, right? Okay. So think about this one here. Think about this program here, right? So think about this one here. For this one, right, you have, you keep doing it for multiple students, right? You see, in this program here, you do it for multiple students here. So that's why you keep doing it until the user enter ZZZ here, right? That is the outer loop. This one is outer loop here, right? You do it for multiple students here, and each of them keep doing it until the name is enter ZZZ here, and then you have housekeeping here. Housekeeping, you enter the quiz name here, right? The quiz name here. And whenever you enter the ZZZ, the program execute terminate here. And inside the detail loop here, now see what you have inside the detail loop. You have the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. Right? That means for each quiz you have 3 tests here. Right? So basically for this one you have the netted loop. Right? The outer loop here, that quiz number 1, quiz number 2, quiz number 3, quiz number 4, quiz number 5, and for in the loop here, for each of the quiz you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 here. Make sense? That is the case of the netted loop here. That's the case of, sorry, where? This one, right? This one. Okay. Netted loop here, right? So think about this one here, right? You see, you have the output quiz name here, part corner number 1 here, right? You see, for the that is kind of detail loop, right? You see, the outer loop here, that means you do it for multiple quiz and until you enter ZCC here. But what you have in the detail loop here, again, in the detail loop here, another loop, right? You starting with the counter number 1 here, right? And what's the part? Part here number 5, you have a 5 part here, right? So we keep doing it until the part number less than 5. So every time you increase the part counter by 1. That's process of the netted loop here, right? Now think about this one. If you look at this program here, I want to print it out, right? I want to print it out all. I want to print it out all the 2-digit numbers starting from 00, 01, 02, 03, and come all over to the 99 here. That is the process of the inner loop, of the netted loop here. So how we do it? Actually, see for this one here, right? For the first digit here, you have everything from 0 to 9, right? Everything from 0 to 9, everything from 0 to 9, and so on. For the outer digit here, you have everything from 0 to 9. Make sense? So basically, you see what happened with my program here. I have netted loop for this one here, right? I have netted loop for this one here. So we see this is the inner loop, and this is the outer loop here. Make sense? This is the inner loop, and this is the outer loop here. I netted into each other. So what is inner loop? Inner loop, that means I have everything from 0 to 9, right? 1, 2, 3, come all over to 9 here, right? And so what's the outer loop? I starting from 0. So I printed out 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and 0, 9 here. That is one iteration of the outer loop. Right? So when I done with the iteration, every iteration of the inner loop here, you move to the outer loop and you increase the counter of the outer loop to 1 here. And again, I do it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 again. Make sense? Okay. So when you execute remember that when you execute the netted loop here, you run every iteration of the inner loop. Right? So when you done every iteration of the loop, you go to the outer loop and you run it again. Make sure? So what happened with this one? What do you think? If I run it here, how many times program execute? How many times? How many times program execute? How many iterations I have in total? What do you think? If I run this program here, how many iterations in total? 100. You know why 100? Because see, this inner here, everything from 0 to 9. That means 10 times. Right? And the outer here, everything from 0 to 9, 10 times. 10 times of 0 to 9, 10 times of 0 to 9. That's why you have 100 iterations. Right? That's the way you work it. Okay, so that's you can observe the way the program run here. Alright, I initialize the number 0 here, right? And now I check here, digit number 1 less than 9. I keep doing it. Right? I initialize the digit number 2 here 0. If digit number 2 0 less than 9, I say keep doing it here. Right? So now I print it here. Right? And every time I increase the digit number 2 by 1. So we keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it until it reaches to 9. So when it reaches to 9, you go to the outer loop and keep doing it here. You said that's the way you work with the netted loop. Okay, so you can observe this one with the Python here. You can see how it works with this one. Okay, so I can put the 2 break here, one here, one here, so you can see with the program here. Okay, so we see what happened here, right? At the beginning, digit number 1, number 0 here, right? Now I run it. Now number 0, 1 hit, 1 here, right? So I keep doing it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we see what happened. Right? You have the 10 here. You terminate the inner loop, right? Terminate the inner loop. You go to the outer loop. Outer loop here, you increase by 1 here, right? That's why again you have 1, right? And you're starting from 0 again for the digit number 2 here, right? So now you just repeat it again. 1, 0, 1, 10, sorry, 1, 1, 1, 2, and so on, and so on, and so on. Right? That's the way it works. You got the concept here? You got the logic here? Yeah. So basically in the netted loop, right? Basically in the netted loop, just remember that you execute every iteration of the inner loop. So when you done it, you go to the outer loop and you increase by 1 and do it again, process again. Okay. Okay, so that's for the netted loop here. Right? For the netted loop right here, the netted loop never overlap. Remember that you have to put it totally inside each other, right? The inner loop is always completely contained within the outer loop. You cannot overlap. You have to put it inside, totally inside here. And the inner loop go through all of its iteration, right? So remember that the inner loop have to go through of all iteration. Each time the outer loop go through just one iteration. That's why you see 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and come on over to 0, 9. Right? That's the inner loop. Then after that, you move to the 1, 0, and 1, 1, and so on. Right? And the total number of iteration executed by the netted loop is the number of inner loop iteration times number of outer loop iteration. Right? That's why I see if you want to print out the 2-digit number, you run it for 100 times, 100 iteration here. Make sense? And if you have a 3-digit, you have 1,000. Okay. Now, some of the thing you can make mistake with the loop here, right? Mistake here. One of the most common mistake here, failing to initialize the loop control variable. Right? That's why you work the while loop here, you have to initialize before you go to the loop, right? Or if you work the for loop here, you have to initialize the counter here. Otherwise, you have a problem. Right? Think about this program. Right? Think about this program. Right? Think about this program here. I modify it with Python here so we can observe it. Right? So see what happens if I do not initialize here before the loop here. Right? I do not initialize before the loop, and when I run it again, and you see what happened. Right? The name is not defined yet. Right? That's the thing. You have the name here is not defined yet. Right? And I search for this program here. Right? That is for the while loop here, and for the count here, I think this one here, right? And again, if I not initialize for the loop here, again I have the problem with my program. I run it again, I got problem here, right? Count is not defined. So remember the loop. Remember when you work the loop, you have to initialize before you go to the loop here, right? For the counter, for the variable that control the loop here. That's the first common mistake. That's the first common mistake here. Right? That's the first common mistake when you work with the loop. Yeah, you see, You just go with and you do not initialize because the syntax error, right? That's why you have to get the name first before you go to the loop. Right? The second one here, right? You forget to change the loop control variable inside the body of the loop, right? So think about it. If you forget it here, right? So think about I modify my program again, I change it again here. But what happened here? If I forget to change it here, it is indefinite. It run it forever. It run it forever. Think about this one here. Right? Think about I have customer A here, and you see, right? 500 here, right? 5,000 here, and again, right? A again, right? Again, it keep doing it forever because the name never ever change. Name is always A, and the condition here never. It's only true. That's why you do it forever. You do it forever, right? Okay, that is a common mistake when you work with the loop here. Or think about this one here. If I don't do it here, so we see what happened. Make a guess. What happened with it? What happened with this program? What happened with this program? If I forgot to change the value of the counter here, what happened? Yeah, it printed hello forever because the count is always stays 0. It never ever change, right? Never change. So the count 0 less than 4 is true. That's why the loop here it run it forever, right? That's why you see hello here forever, 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 right? Okay, some of other mistake here when you can make it when you work with the loop here that you're using the wrong comparison when typing loop control variable, right? Program must use the correct comparison and seriously depend on the action performed within the loop here, right? Sometimes if you do the wrong comparison here, you can get the overcharge insurance here, right? Overbook a flight or some thing here. I think about this one. Okay, I can give you the very simple example with this one here, right? Now think about this one. All right. So instead of the competition greater than 4, I change it to the less than 4, I change it to greater than 4 here. What do you think? What happened with this program? All right. Instead of less than, I mistake that I put it greater than here. What happened with this program?
Exits.
No, nothing happened, right? Nothing happened here. I see. Nothing because 0 here, 0 greater than 4. No, that means nothing executing the program here, right? So make sure that when you put the condition here, you have to pay to the condition here. You put it in the correct operator here. Otherwise, you got problem, right? Okay. And one of this one also, right? What happened here? If you do it with this one also, you got the syntax error here, right? Because it understands that X here is a variable, not a string, right? So remember that if you want to compare to the string X here, you have to put it inside the body of the code mark here. Yeah, this one here, right? So instead of checking the comparison here, name equal or not equal to quit or not, but you put a greater than, that is not correct comparison. Okay. Some of the mistake here, mistake including the statement inside the loop that belong to the outside the loop here. Right? Example that discount every item by 30%, and efficiently because the same value is calculate the 100 separate time for each price. That's enter and move this one outside the loop. Right? Think about this one, right? So you have 100 items. They are the same. They are the same price, right? You want to change it for you want to print it out sticker here, right? So instead of doing it outside the loop, you put it inside. You know, all of them, they have the same sticker, same price here. You just need to do it outside the loop, not inside the loop, right? Otherwise, it really slows down the process of the computer. Listen, now think about this one. Think about, I just make a very simple program here. Right? This one here. Okay, think about this one. Yeah, I succeed. I run my program here, right? So should do better with the other program here. So I observe it. Okay, so see for this one here. Now I want to print it out. The program is terminated, but by mistake I put it inside the loop. Right? So see what happened. Actually, it printed out program terminated for 4 times. Right? It printed out program terminated for 4 times. Where my program? Sorry, I made mistake here. Change it again. Huh? Yeah, I run it again. Right? So see, it's not what I expected. Right? Because the program terminated, I just want to do it one time only, right? So by mistake here, I put it inside the loop. Not what I meant, right? So basically, I had to move it outside the loop here, right? So basically, I had to move it outside the loop here. Remember? So this one here, I have to do it outside the loop, not inside the loop. And now it worked well, right? It worked well with the program here, right? So some of the mistake, some of you, very common mistake here because you put it inside the loop instead of outside the loop. I think about you want to find out the total of all the number you got it, right? So every time you got the number, you print it out. The total is not good at all. You just need to put it out the total one time only when you terminate the program. Now that's what I mentioned in the case of the for loop, right? The for loop here it works very well in the case of definite loop here. That means you know for sure how many iterations you do it, right? So basically in the pseudocode here, so the same structure, right? You have to initialize it, you test it, and you change it here. So for this one, when you work with the pseudocode here, you starting count number 0, right? To number 3 and step number 1 here. You just do it, right? You just do it. This one here. With the for loop here, right? So we have the for count number 0 to number 3. It's step number 1. You just put it out here, print it out here. So the amount by which loop controller will change here, it can be positive or negative. That's what I give the example in the case you want to count down, right? Count down from 100 to 0 here. That is the case. Step is the negative number 1. Right? So it can be any number. It can be any integer number here. The default step is number 1, but of course it can be number 5 or number 10 or negative 5 or negative 10. It doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, so the while statement could be used in place of other statement here also, right? That's the case. You see the while here. Right? Both the program is thinking the same, right? But normally, if you work with the definite number iteration here, it should be better you work the for loop. When you work with the Python, you see you can save a little bit of time when you work with the number of iteration here. And sometimes you have the post-stack loop and also the pre-test loop also, right? The pre-test loop that means you check the condition before you go to the body of the loop, right? In the case of the post-test loop here, that means you just execute and after that you check the condition. Okay, so basically in the case of the post-test loop here, the body execute at least one time, right? At least one time because you check it later. So in the case of the Python, I don't know if you work the Python or not. That is the case you work with a while true here. Right? In the case of Python, you work with a while true here. That is the case of the post-stack loop. That means you just go to the body of the loop, you execute at least one time, and after that you check the condition. Right? Check the condition. Now, here's about this my program here. Post-stack loop here. Right? So see, for this program here, I write into the Python here, right? So what happened here? I only ask user what is your name here, right? What is your name? And after that, I check it here. If the name, I break it, right? If the name, break it. If not, I print it down. Welcome to the class here. So what is it? For this program, I only execute it for one time. I only ask user to enter the name for one time here, right? And after that, I check the connection with the Python. But anyway, you don't have to go into detail about structure with the Python here. It's not we focus in this class. Yeah. So when you work with the post-stat loop, you see, you just go with and check it later here, right? In the pair structure here. Okay, so basically all the structure loop, they have some of the characteristic in common here. The loop controlling evaluation must provide either entry or exit to the structure, and the loop controlling evaluation provides only entry to or exit from structure here, right? Some of the language, they support the do until the loop here. That is the case of the post-stat here. Right? That's the case of the post-stat. Okay, now we go with some common loop application here, right? Using the loop to accumulate the total. But think about this one. I keep asking you, I'm asking you to enter, I keep asking you enter the number here, right? Number. And every time you have to find out what is the total of the number. I think about, I enter number 1, number 5, number 10, number 2, number 3 here. So how we do it? You have to sum it up together. All right? You have to sum it up together in order to find out the total. So in the process, using the loop here, they call it the process of the accumulator. So what is it? If you want to do the accumulator, make sure here you use the accumulator here, right? Now in the case of accumulator here, I think this one here, right? Or this one, right? If you work with accumulator here, some of the three, you have the three actions you have to remember. You only have to initialize the accumulator 0 outside and before the loop. For sure. You only need to do it here. You only need to do it there, right? You have to do it before and outside the loop. If you put it inside the loop again, it reset it to 0 again. Right? Okay, that's the first step here. Right? And the accumulator here, they are a chain. Right? Once for every data set is a process here. And at the end of the process, the accumulator are the output here. Right? Think about, I write my program, right? Think about I want to I want you to guide to work with the pseudocode here. Right? Now open the pseudocode and think about this. I want to for this program here, I have the number, right? I have number here, that is number. Sorry, number. And I want to find out total. Right? Number total. Okay. So now I want you to write the program to ask user enter for 10 number. Now how will you do it? To ask user to enter for the 10 number. How will you do it? Now tell me. I want to write the program to ask user to enter the 10 number. Now tell me. 10 number. 10 number. Enter the 10 number here. I want to write the program, allow the user to enter 10 number. I get 10 number from user. Now do it. Now tell me how I do it. 10 number. Predetermined number iteration. Huh?
You have the counter.
Yeah, you can into counter with a while loop or the for loop is okay, right? Now do it with the while loop here. So if I want to do the 10 number, what I have to do with here? What I have to write here? Tell me. How? What I put count here? Yeah, it's starting from 0, right? It's starting from 0. So now if I work with a y here, what is the condition? I need to put it here. I want to do it 10 number.
Well, we count as.
I want to do it for 10 number. Huh?
Well, count as less than 10.
Yes, right, that's all, right? Y count less than 10. Y count less than 10. That just means I keep doing it if the count here less than 10, right? And I go to the body of the loop, I just get the number, right? And I put here. That's a problem. Enter a number. And I start into the variable here, input number. Anything else? Anything else? Yeah. Every time I need to increase the count by 1, right? Okay. The count here. Okay, that's all. Right? I need to get the 10 number, and now that's process. I get the 10 number from user. Is that correct? Why not correct?
Just change the number variable each time, not.
No, the program here, I'm just asking you to write the program to get 10 number from user. This one work. What do you mean? Why not work?
Well, then you would just get the,
You just get number and stored into the variable here.
then like the last number that they put in is just the one that you would have.
Yeah, right. That you will learn it in the class. You will learn about arrays next week. But this program, nothing wrong. You get 10 number. Okay, so think about this one here. I run my program, right? I think I simulate my run my program. So what happened here? I have one variable. This one I have one variable here. Number. I have only one variable number here, right? So what happened? The first time I store it, number 1 here. I get it from user. Right? The second time he enter number 5, he override, and number 6 he override. It's okay. But at least I know that process I get the 10 number from user and it's stored in the variable. Now, what happened here? I want to find out the total of all the 10 number here. If I want to find out the total all the 10 number here, remember, you have to use the process of accumulator. Accumulator. What is the accumulator? Remember that if you work with the accumulator here, you always have to initialize the accumulator before the loop, and you set it with 0. You set it 0 here, right? You set it 0 here. That's the first step. The second step here, inside the body of the loop, right? Inside the body of the loop here, you have the process of accumulation. That means whenever you got the new number, you add it to the accumulator, right? So what is it? I put it here, total. What I put it here? Plus number, right? So every time I got number, I add it to the total here, right? I add it to the total. Okay, so you can see how I run my program here, right? So see what happened. I run it for 10 times, right? So now I have 2 variables here, right? The first one is the number. The second variable here is the total. Right? You know that the total, I set it 0 at the beginning. So what happened? The first iteration, I enter the number 5 here. Right? So what happened? I have total here, right? Equal total plus number. So what is it? I know that total here at the beginning 0, right? So I put 0 here. Number, I enter number 5 here. That's why the new total here, I got number 5. I stored it here in the total. That's the first iteration. Right? And now I done it again. The second number, I enter the number 10 here. Right? So again, you see, the new total here is the total number 5 plus number 10. So the new one is the 15, and so on. That process whenever I enter the number 1, number 3, number 5, number 8, number 10, and so on here. So what happened? I have 0 here, I add it to 1, I have 1 here. I add it to 3, I have 4 here. I add it to 5, I have 9 here. I add it to 8, I have 17 here, and so on. That's why they call the process accumulator. That means whenever you got a new number, you accumulate it to the what you have right now. Make sense? That's all, right? So that's the program here, right? And if I want to print it out here, if I want to print it out at the end, remember that if I want to print it out the total at the end, I have to bring it out the loop, not inside the loop, because I just need to print out total 1 time only, right? So I print it here. The total is. That's all. Make sense? Now I do exactly the same program in the Python. Yeah. So in the Python, I do this one with the Python. I copy it here. can modify it later. Right? So I have now. Remember that in the way you work with the accumulator, you have to initialize the accumulator before the loop and outside the loop and put it 0 here. Right? Put it 0 here. The count here. It is a control here, right? You have to put number 0 over. So why count length less than number 10 in the Python here, right? Use this one. Okay, so now, what's it? Okay, so now I got number from user, right? Number. Integer, I input here. And a number. Okay, that's all. What happened? What next here? What next action? Now tell me, what is the next action? Every time I got number, what I have to do? I have to accumulate it. Right? I have to accumulate it. That means I have put the total here. What? Total plus number. Make sense? Every time I got number, I accumulate it to the what I have here, right? So, okay, I have count here equal to count plus 1. Plus 1 here. And of course, as a process here, I bring it down, right? The total is total. That's all, right? To make it simple, I just do it for 5 number a week. I don't want to run it so long, right? So now, that is the process you work with the accumulator. You see, when you work accumulator here, remember always initialize the accumulator before the loop and outside the loop, and set it 0 outside the loop. Outside, remember outside, right? And now every time you got it, you just add it up to the total here. Right? Okay, you just add it up to the total. So now you see what happened with my program here. I run it in with a break here, right? So we see it's very helpful when you run this one. So now what happened here? I run it, and there's a number 1. Right? So now you see what happened here. Total now number 1. Right? Total number 1 here. So now I run it again. The second number I put number 5 here. So we see what happened with the total. You can see what happened with the total here. Right? Total now, what is it? 6. Right? Because you add them up together. Right? So now, if I have the new number here, number 7 here, what do you think? What is the total now? What is the total now? 13. Now you add it up. You have the 6 now. You add it to 7. You have the 13 now. Right? You have 13 now. Okay, that's why you see you have 13 now. And now if I have the 10 here, right? What I have here, you add it up together. You have the 23 here. Right? 23 here. And now the last number, I put the 15 here. Right? So I have the 38 here. Right? Now I run my program. The total is 10. So that's the process of the accumulator. So remember that whenever you work with the accumulator, you have to initialize the accumulator to 0 before the loop and outside the loop. Right? Now, what happened here? Let's see what happened. If I put this one here, I put it into this one. You can see what happened. You see what happened? Because every time I reset it to 0 again. Right? So basically, it's only printed out the last number. Is that? Okay. Just remember that accumulator you have initialized and you bring it outside the loop here before the loop here. Okay, some of the other application when we work with the common loop here, it is when we work with the defensive technique. Here, right? You use a loop to validate data here. Defensive programming here is that preparing for all possible errors that before they occur, right? So when promising a user data, you have no guarantee if the data is valid. I think about I asking user, please enter a positive number. But what happens if he enters a negative number here? I have no guarantee, right? So in that case, I use a defensive technique. Defensive technique that means I need to make sure and whenever user enters the number, it must be a positive number here. Right? That's the case. Very good when you work the loop here. Now think about this one here. Think about this one here, right? I work the loop here. Please enter the number, right? So whenever user enter number, please enter the positive number. Sorry, please enter the positive number, right? So whenever user enters the positive number here, I check with the loop here. If y is the number less than 0, I do not accept it. I do not accept anything greater than less than or equal 0 because I expect the positive number here, right? So whenever he enters a negative number or 0 here, see, I go to the loop again. Please enter again and again. So process here, keep doing it again and again and again until when user enters a positive number. Make sense? Okay, this one here, I see. I work with the pseudocode and I work with the flowchart here. I see, enter the number. You check if number less than or equal 0. Please enter again. Do it again and again and again. Right? That is the defensive technique. Very, very helpful in the case you work the loop here. Right? So it's a defensive technique here, right? And also you just do the while loop here also. Now, one other common mistake you work with the defensive technique that instead of working with the loop, you work with the selection. So what's it? Right? Input the month here. Think about here. I want to verify that the month here, right? The month here is must be in the range from 1 to number 12, right? So what happened here? If he enters the number -5 here, right? I go with the yes. Enter again, input month again, and I exit program. It's not good because what happened? You have no guarantee that if he enter again, he put the negative value. Right? So basically, in order to work with the validation, you have to work with the loop, not the selection. Make sense? Loop that means you force it, do it again and again until the program correct it. Not selection. You see, if the selection here, you have no guarantee that he enters the correct number. Make sense? Okay, that's the key word. Okay, and sometimes, right, you can limit the reprompting loop here. I think about in the case here, right? In the case here, I force him to do it again and again. But what happened? He keep doing it for multiple times. It's very annoying here. So how can you correct it? I can limit him. You only have the 3 time rule. Think about in the case password, right? So how can you correct this problem? What do you think?
Counter.
Yeah, you use a counter, right? You use a counter here. I think about you set the counter here. Counter here. Count is 0, right? So if number less than 0 and count less than 3, you just do it, right? And of course, every time here you need to count. Right? You need to increase it. So 0 here, I put 0 here, and every time you check if count less than 3, you just do it again. But when 3, you just print it out. Yeah, you enter the wrong password for more than 3 times already. Right? So that's okay. That's okay. You can limit the number enter here. Limit the reprom loop here. Right? Reprom can be frustrating to the user if you continue indefinitely here. Right? So you can maintain the count number of reprom, forcing the data item here. Okay, now that's the case here, right? See, you use the counter here. Right? You use the counter number 3 here, you initialize 0 here, and you check here. Right? So yeah, every time, remember that you have increased by 1. Right? Okay. Yes, some of the application you can validate its number is numeric or not, or is child or not, or and so on here. Yeah, that's what with some of the function with the Python I mentioned about range function already, right? You have start, stop, and step here, right? And for in the Python, if you work with number of definite iteration, it should be better you work the for loop. Right? You can use a combination of the for loop, right? The for loop, and think about this one. If you want to print out every odd number from 0 to 100 here, right? So it's starting from number 1, come all over to 100, and step here number 2 because it is an odd number, even number here, right? But in the case of indefinite number iteration, that means the user is the one who determines it here. You do it with sentinel control, right? So in that case, you work with a while loop here. You work with a while loop. So I think that's all for lecture for today. I give you some activity here on in-class activity. So I will activate it now. I will do it now, or you can do it later today. Is okay for me, but make sure you submit it today. But one more thing I mentioned that basically you can find everything in my slide. Honestly. If you look in my slide here, you can see anything, and you can apply it into your homework or assignment or anything.